of our show here today. So, one, thank you everybody again. We're just
Happy
coming
New
on live.
Year!
Happy New Year. Been an incredible holiday. I hope everybody's well rested. And we are kickstarting this year pretty crazy. There's a lot of things going on.
Sure is.
I think by now, hopefully all of you have checked out some of our open chat API videos, and hopefully that's helping you in your marketing. It's definitely helping us in our agency. And there's been a lot of really good commotion out there. People are starting to connect APIs to it. So AI is here. It's definitely pretty crazy, but there's still things out there that we want to make sure that people are doing. So today I kind of want to like change the conversation up a little bit. And Andy, you and I had this conversation for a while where um, the way like your local businesses are looking at um, real estate, it's there's a different real estate market out there, and it's definitely the internet. And I think
100%.
local businesses are really truly missing out if they're not online, especially the brick and mortars. Now, I think over the last 2 years or 3 years, I should say now 3 years, I can't believe that that we have significantly accelerated into the digital space, but we are still servicing a lot of customers that are still not online. I mean, I think we've dealt with like 3 or 4 in the last week that are just trying to get online, and it's crazy. It's really important that people really are focusing on that. That if you are a local business or brick and mortar, or you're starting a business, you can go. I would go digital first before you would go anything else to test out the product and everything else. Now, you can definitely have a physical location and things are great, but you really got to start navigating the new real estate of like what's important. So today I kind of wanted to show how Google is playing this new real estate game at a very high level. And it's funny because just when I thought Google just like I really like the way they do things. I got to be honest, they're very smart tactically. They're always adding to what they have. And I don't know whether I like what they're doing or I hate what they're doing, but they're just really smart about it.
Well, I
So
mean,
in the marketing space, go ahead.
they're trying to make it, more like the real world, but the virtual world, as you can, especially with everything that's coming out, is becoming more and more important. And that real estate thing analogy that you came up with earlier was so. I'd like you to repeat it the way you repeated it to me. It is so uh, exact about making sure that your eyes are in the right place. It's funny, but I always talk about the story when it comes to location. There's two Dunkin' Donuts restaurants on a highway, but there's a barrier in the middle, and it gets them coming and going. And it really depends on what side of the street the Dunkin' Donuts is in order to get paid for breakfast. Because if it's going east, because we live near New York City, if it's going east in the morning, the Dunkin' Donuts on the east side of the street, well, they're making all the money. But on west, people don't want coffee because they're going home, they're going to bed. It's the same thing on the internet. You want to make
No, it
sure
really is.
you want to make sure that your ad, your billboard, your Dunkin' Donuts or your coffee shop is on the right side of the street. And the way you talked, and I really want you to show the way you laid out the page where the location on the page is like that highway, like the Dunkin' Donuts, where people get the coffee on the right side of the morning.
Yeah, so what's wild is, and again, I can't take all credit. I mean, there's a lot of really smart people out there that again are killing it in Google Ads and just understand the true Google space. I mean, we're really good at it, but there's definitely other individuals that are best. But it's crazy. It's crazy how they assign it going forward. But yeah, let's just kind of go right into it. So this is what we mean by the new real estate of the internet. So let me go ahead and just share my screen real quick. And yeah, let's see if we can get it going here.
You're going to need to switch it to maximize the space because you can't see.
Can't see anything, right? So hold on. Let's just go.
I think you got
to-
orientate.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. This is like challenging, apparently. I'm going to
Well,
share my screen again. Hold on. Let's try this again. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to share this screen.
there we go.
But yeah, that's all we really need. And I'll make it smaller just so that it makes it a little bit more convenient. But actually, it is squeezed up a bit. Look at that. So for instance, if you're looking at dentist near me, right? Or dentist in Chicago, right? Here's what's wild about what's going on right now with anything inside the internet. Now, what a lot of people don't realize, yeah, and it is kind of shorting it down. So let me actually shrink that a little bit so we can kind of fit it in, because I want everybody to kind of see this right there. So Google is now broken apart the first page to really, really take advantage of anybody that's paying for ads. Now, what's wild about this is I consider this the new real estate market, right?
Right.
So the way to think about it is like, anybody played, Monopoly when they were younger, right? You just want to get to the boardwalk because the boardwalk gives you more rent, more money, and that's kind of like the premium place. Where the way I want you guys to think about like everything that's going on now when it comes to anything having to do with Google or internet marketing is like you're paying or you're renting space in the internet, and that's the way I kind of want to think about it. Everybody looks at that cost and thinks in conversions and everything else, and that's true. You definitely want to have an ad that converts and doing all of that. But the other way to think about it is like you're almost like renting a space on the premium premium property to get noticed. And that's a great Dunkin' Donuts example you said. It's like you got one people going on the east side that has all the attractions you get to, and you got somebody else on the other side of the barrier that barely gets any visibility.
No business.
And they're getting absolutely no business. Well, guess what? The same thing is true for anybody that's running any kind of ads. Now, we're talking about PPC and Google ads specifically. Yahoo and Bing kind of work the same. And if you have Google, you kind of have Yahoo and Bing. But the long story short of it is the way to think about this is the ad space. Now, watch how wild this is. And this is what blew my mind. There are technically 5 spaces where you want to be inside of Google. Now, the first space is the premium ad space, right? There's usually about 3 to 4 ads. It's usually, I believe, 3. And they rotate based on quality, based on how much you're willing to spend. And basically, it's a bidding war. It's like a stock market. Whoever has the best ad, the best offer, the best audience, the best setup, and is willing to pay more will usually rotate more often in here. Now, I say rotate because at no point in time are you always guaranteed the first stop. Now, you can try to pay to get that first spot, and you'll get it more often, but there is a bit of rotation that happens here. And again, don't want to get into I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible just to get people to understand like the real estate market of the internet, right? So here's your premium spot. You're paying a good amount of money to be on that first spot. It's rotating in and out, and that's kind of what you have here. Then there's now a secondary spot where you want to also get into, especially if you're a local business, and that is what we call the map pack ad, the map pack or local ads. Like these ads will fall in here. Now notice there's one person in here that has an ad that is actually physically paying for that top spot. Now, he could be one of like 5 people, and this ad again will also rotate. Now, notice there's 3 other parts in here that 3 other spaces that allow you to go in there. Now, that's usually done through Google My Business Optimization. It's done through local SEO, search engine optimization. It's done through collecting Google reviews. And a combination of all those things, how often posting on Google My Business, if people are leaving, recent reviews. I mean, there's a bunch of factors that go in. There's ways to optimize it so you can get in there. So let's just kind of go over this a bit. Rotating ad space is premium spot number 1. You're paying premium dollar to be within this rotation. Again, a lot of other factors to get you onto the top of that rotation, but that's a whole nother avenue to explore. The second spot is the SEO combined with you can play for that rotating spot up in the top, and that's another spot. A little cheaper to run it here, but still another spot that you can pay for. Then there is your local SEO or search engine optimization that's happening here with people that, again, have a lot of search engine optimization, and that happens. But look at this. This is what kills me about Google, right? What's funny is like, okay, well, you couldn't afford this up here, and you really didn't want to do this up here, but we still want to show your ad. Well, technically, I'm on the first page of Google, so let me put you all the way at the bottom. And here is another bunch of ad spaces here at the bottom. So top premium, then you have your map pack area, then you have your area all the way at the bottom. Absolutely wild. Now, just when you thought Google was done, Google said, well, hey, we're going to do it with certain select individuals. We're going to run different types of ads. Now, here's a funny part. If I do, I think, I can't remember exactly all of them right now because there's a few of them. But if I do, let's see, it's leaving me right now, but I think it's not dentist. Let's try electrician or actually plumber. Yeah. Plumber near me.
What are you trying to?
It's the GLS ads. So right here, it's the Google guarantee space. So look, now they're going vertical. They're going not vertical, but horizontal. They were going vertical here. Notice how these two ads are still here, but notice there's now 3 different rotations up here.
Nuno, what I like to think about this as an example, and I think that this is something. People can't see my face, but I'm showing my hands. But you know what? I'll describe it like this. If you've ever been to an airport or a mall, but especially an airport, depending on the hangar that you're in, there's always this thing called Hudson News. And Hudson News is in multiple locations throughout the whole airport. And in a sense, that's kind of what you got in here. And what a lot of people can do is that they can be in one spot, they could be in the second spot, and then also in the map pack, so that they're hitting them no matter which gate that they're on. It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing like real estate in an airport. That airport just happens to be Google.
I know, but what kills me is like, talk about like some good strategy here. We're selling you this space. We're selling you this space. You're kind of making it on your own here through, again, SES services, but look who's in here. Yelp, Angie. This is where citations come in, motor guides.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, yes, you can run an ad all the way at the bottom also. So, but this is what I mean by real estate. So think about that, right? If you're in a big, apartment building, top floor is always usually the penthouse, right? Then you have like the floors in the middle, and then you have your ground floor, which nobody wants because you're hearing everybody, all the neighbors upstairs. Trust me, from living in an apartment, you never want the bottom floor, right? So, but I just think it's pretty brilliant. This is what we mean by, having a very solid approach. Really good agencies out there, and like we know a handful of really good experts that do it. Where we do this for our clients, where we just don't focus on the Google Ads part anymore. We focus on getting you in all 3, right? Because here's the methodology behind it, right? Your ad is rotating here, so you're probably going to get that one time missing as a customer. Now, you optimize the ad, you make sure that it's running well, like you're doing all the things you need to do, and you rotate often in here. But there's going to be some people here that are going to ignore 1 and 2. Let's talk about the guaranteed right now, the Google guarantee ads, because that's only for certain ad types, and we'll go over which ones those are in a second. But then I'm like, well, I kind of just want to see the reviews. The next logical point a person's going to go to in this page is definitely checking out the reviews. This is where, again, you can run an ad in here, but then you also got to think about your Google reviews. Are they in good standing? How often are you posting? You got a whole Google My Business optimization that we do for our clients here. And then you have your search engine optimization where you're in here and you're using, now notice all the ones that are pulling up here are Yelp, Angie's List, BBB. This is all things that you do through citations. You make sure your names you're in there, and that's a whole nother separate story. But then, just in case it doesn't make that rotation, Google still wants to show your impression or your ad, so it puts you at the bottom of the page. It's absolutely wild, but think about that, right? If you're a person that wants to read through things, if your person is like, oh, I really like, I know these guys are paying for it. Let me see what's some of the reviews. You're going to go straight to here. Then you're like, oh, these guys are probably like all have a lot of money. They're going to be too expensive. Let me search who's coming up here. Not that anybody around there is, because we just hit plumber near me, right? And it goes on. And then here we go. You got them all the way down at the bottom. And that's just an example. So this, if you're a local business, is what you're doing. Now, you have 2 ways to think about it. One, you think about it like you're renting a space, a premium space, instead of renting a brick and mortar, a premium real estate in the internet that you're willing to pay for a monthly fee for. The second way to think about this is you're going to pay an ad cost, and your ad cost is going to be what the ad cost is. Now, the second way to also look at like the ad market and everything else, I always try to make it a little bit of a comparison. I always think of it a little bit like the stock market too, right? So you got the real estate market of where you want to bid and where you want to be. And again, don't want to get super technical, but it's just a different way to look at it. Then the second piece comes in where, all right, well, how is it going to cost? What is it going to cost me based where I am? And I usually like to divide that to like 3 different categories, right? One, something to really think about is this, and it's very simple. It's supply and demand, right? If you are in an area that has 7 plumbers and they're all going for the same exact ad, you are bidding against 7 plumbers. So your cost might be okay. and you'll start there.
Mhm.
But the search volume for plumbers in that area, maybe everybody has 60 houses or nobody has leaks, it's going to be very low. So your costs might be a little bit higher. Your even though your actual competition's low because of the search volume. So some of those things take in supply and then the demand and how many people are around you. Now take a place like, let's go to Florida, right? What's one business in Florida that's always available? And do you live there? What is one thing in Florida that happens all the
Uh,
time?
I don't know. It's something that is in everybody's backyard. Pool supplies.
Pool supplies,
Well,
pool
more
supplies,
so, you know,
pool
more than pool
stores, pool
supplies, but
cleaning,
yeah, pool cleaning, pool servicing. Probably the. I came from Florida, and pool was huge.
right? So if
Yeah.
how many pool people are in like one area? And what is the demand? The
Oh,
demand's probably pretty
it's
heavy.
it's crazy.
It's going to
It's
be in
that
there, and and that's all it is. It's supply and demand. Does the search volume match like how many you have? Is the area you have like people looking for that kind of service and so forth? I remember one time we ran a dental ad and we couldn't get this ad to work because we were doing orthodontics, and it was driving us crazy because we ran multiple
Oh
ones
yeah, I remember
like
the story that you're about to
variations
tell.
of ads, and then all of a sudden we looked at the population. The average population age was
Well,
like 60. So like
yeah,
nobody needs braces at 60, but it was funny because we just didn't even think about it. We didn't know the area. It was outside of our venue, and we were like, why can't we get these ads to work? And it happened to be that the average 80% of the population in that area was like 50 to like 60, and the birth rate was the lowest it's ever been. And it was like, okay, well, maybe this is not the area we should be looking at. But again,
right.
supply and demand, right? Like you had this person that had this product, but he was selling it to a place that didn't need it. So it was like, of course, his ad cost was going to be through the roof. But it's things like that that you have to think about when you're going through ads. But the point of the matter is, and anybody that's watching this, if you have a business and you want to get in Google Ads or you're a local business and you're trying to get yourselves up, you got to think of this as the new age real estate market. And if Google keeps being this savvy, where they keep going horizontal and vertical, maybe this is going to turn into a separate
Wonder
line at
where
some
else
point.
I put this stuff.
Well,
You
exactly.
know,
Like where else are they going to have it? You
but
know?
actually, and that kind of talks about the future. And something else I'd like to talk about today on the future of these ads. Pretty soon those even though it didn't work well the last time, the Google glasses and the and the reality is going
The
to happen,
AR.
and that kind of stuff is going to be more real estate that affects actual real estate and would show that Dunkin' Donuts sign out there. So if you kind of get used to working in this space, you're going to be able to work in that space
Yeah,
also, and that
actually. So let me burst your bubble there a little bit. It is already actually here. There are
right.
certain so believe it or not, and that's actually great that you brought that.
And,
What Andy's
and I was
referring
actually
to,
going to bring up the thing about Waze and how Waze is kind of already doing that on your phone as you're driving past things.
yeah, but
And
let me blow you.
Waze is owned by Google.
Yeah, so let me share something which is pretty crazy. So if you go to Google, Augmented, Google Maps, augmented reality, it's actually already here in certain. I believe it's in New York, and um, if you have live view, I think it's called. This is what it now looks like. I don't know if you could see it. It might be a little bit small, but they're now arrows. And what's happening is you see it will actually show the directions if you're walking. But
Uh-huh.
what's wild is if you're near a store that has this part of it set up, the store and the sale of the store will actually start popping up. Augmented
You mean the
reality,
sales?
the only
When you
thing
say sale, are you talking about we have a 50% off deal on blah blah blah?
yeah, like so the rumor is like again, I've only slightly looked into this, but they have it where um they are building to it. Yeah, so you see they give you like examples. It's already here. There's already the technology is already being developed. So imagine you walking, right? You have your special VR glasses in there. And this is why getting on Google is so important right now. This is where I don't know if you guys can see the screen, but you're
This
walking
is where
towards something and the map is there. But what's wild is you'll be able to basically advertise on the building. You see what it's doing?
yeah, it's literally popping it up above it.
So I know that everybody's like freaking out about ChatGTP and all this, which is great. But once the lenses all come into play and people start wearing these, so the way this works is, believe it or not, this works with My Business. With Google Business Profile, this works with Google Business Profile. So if you're set up and you're classified a certain way, and you're in an area that already is starting to establish augmented reality, it will pop up like with the business name and everything else. So it's pretty wild. It's getting to the point where it will give you an outline of where you are. Now, if you're in the city, I believe they have this in New York City already. If you do the live view in Google Maps and hold the phone, you're actually able to see this now.
Oh, really? Oh, I've got to check
Yeah,
that next
this
time.
already is live in certain places. And what's happening is over time, it's going to be another, I guarantee you, like I'm calling the shot here. Ready?
Yeah.
You will be wearing glasses in the future, be walking down the street, and you will be able to order your food, see the specials for restaurants, services of any sort, just by walking down the street.
Well, actually, you know
And
what?
getting on Google My Business Now, or Google Business Profile.
Let me bring up a point. One of the things, though, that I think you're missing out on is the fact that this stuff does work already to a certain extent with, I don't know what kind of car you have, but if you bought a car in the past 5 years, you have the Apple Play, where you can hook up your phone to your nav system, and you no longer need a nav system installed. You just put it in, and that Apple One, I'm already seeing stuff come up, advertisements as I'm driving down the road using Waze. That stuff's already popping up. You don't have to wait. And most people in this country don't walk down the street. We drive, and that's coming in a big way. And I actually already see it now.
Yeah, and I don't know if you could see it, but look at the reviews. The reviews will pop up.
No,
this is where Google is trying to take it, everything. This is why I'm saying getting on Google right now is probably one of the smartest things you can do. So if you're a local business, you have a brick and mortar store, you're collecting reviews, you don't understand the real estate that we try to explain here, this is where you want to go. Because I got to tell you that between everything that's happening with technology, between wherever you are, and understanding that this is like the new real estate area, but more importantly, it's turning from this to a virtual location where once you start wearing these glasses, which will become a fad and will go forward, you're going to be able to walk down the street. And if you're a business that's not on here, imagine what you're going to be missing out. This is happening now. This is live. Like in certain cities, the live view is already live, and the people that have Google reviews and are taking advantage of it is there. Now, I'm telling you, all of this fits from your Google Business Profile into there. So getting that automated, getting that updated and making sure that that's good is where the future is going to be. But I'm telling you right now, we've already experienced AI with ChatGTP. It's been blowing up. It's been around for like the last 4 years, but they just managed to make it so easy for everybody to use that honestly, I literally have seen people like completely lose Google and like just trust in the ChatGPT. I tell people like it's good
for that. Because like the one thing I noticed with ChatGPT, because I've been doing a lot of research on it, is that you really can't, and that's why even though ChatGPT is super sexy right now, that's why something like your Google reviews are so important, because with Google reviews and so forth, you can't compare in ChatGPT to plumbers or to dentists. You can't say to ChatGPT, give me 5 dentists near me and which one I should go to. It's not there yet. It'll write something for you beautifully and tell you how to make a QR code. By the way, video in our channel, go check it out. But it can't do reviews. It can't. So Google, by the way, Google's not going anywhere just because you're hearing about ChatGPT. Google still is going to be your place you go to compare things. First place you're going to go to research things. And I got to be quite frankly, a lot of ChatGPT I've been typing in, it's good. It's not 100%. It's good, So you got to think about that when you're going through it.
Yeah, there's a marketer, Justin Broke. He's a brilliant marketer, and he was talking about like the pros focus on he goes the people that are just playing around or just asking questions and everything else. the pros, the marketers who are using this for really good copy and everything else, are focusing on the prompts. Like, what
Yeah.
questions do you ask the AI
How do you ask
and
it?
how do you prompt it, and like how do you guide it to give you the right answer? And I thought it was brilliant the way he presented it, but it was just really smart, and he's right, and he's absolutely right. But here's just something that, so we covered, you got to get on this Google real estate thing. You got to really truly figure it out. And then the second thing of it is augmented reality, calling the shot. I think within the next 1 to 2 years, once they figure out the glasses, they got to make the glasses cheap enough where everybody can buy them, but then also have like some kind of monthly fee. I don't know how they're going to introduce it, but
I have to respectfully disagree with you there. I think you're going to see it more in because again, the type of society we're living in, people are going to see that popping up in their eyeballs, and they're going to, like you and me, we're geeks. We're going to love that. But my mother is going to hate that stuff, and she's not going to understand it. And then she's going to start touching her eyes. I'm not kidding. That's not a joke. She's going to be like, why can't I access this thing?
Absolutely right.
But in the car, my dad uses it all the time right now. He's like, I gotta get a cup of coffee, and he sees it right there on his navigation system in his car right now. And he's like, how do I? And he's trying to click the button. By the way, he clicks the buttons all the time. They love clicking buttons, especially the older people. Mom and dad, if you're watching this, maybe the only people watching this. Those respect, please stop touching your lenses on your eyes. It's not going to work. But that is what the future is. And that's why you got to get on this, because if I'm driving down the road and I'm talking to my wife and neither of us can figure out what to do for dinner, and we're saying to each other, what do you want? I don't know. I'm not in the mood for that. I'm not in the mood for that. God knows, as we're driving, going to be like, well, that restaurant's 4 stars. That restaurant's 5 stars. Let's go in their parking lot.
Yeah,
happen.
It is pretty wild. No, but I agree. I mean, there's no disagreement. I just think in the way that it's going to be delivered, it's going to be different, right? But I think you're right. Like I said, live view is there. If you literally go to your Google map and you click on your Google map and you just hit live view, if you're like walking and you point it up, if it is in a town that is already adapted to this, you are going to get those little fancy arrows that you saw pointing you in the right direction. I mean, but imagine you're walking by, again, you just got to visualize this, right? You're walking by and the stars start popping up, or the menu starts popping up, or the sale of whatever you're doing. You're gonna interact more. Again, to your point, driving is probably where I think you're 100% right. I think
because
as the map get a little bit more three-dimensional.
Want a star. Oh, damn it, the star.
That's absolutely right. But so get on Google Business Profile if you're a local business. Start collecting some reviews. Get somebody to optimize it. We do it. For anybody that knows what we do, focus on Google. Facebook and TikTok. All that's great. Like, all that's great marketing. We're just a real estate game, and like understanding there's an internet real estate market, and you just are fighting for first page in various different areas. And you can choose to be on the boardwalk. And you can choose to be on whatever the lowest one is on Monopoly. I always forget.
You know what the title of this broadcast out, and what we're calling this, the title of this show should be like, Google's not dead. ChatGTP.
I don't even know how
it is cool. Enjoy your new bells and whistles, but this Google stuff, you still got to be on that. And if you're like finally like, maybe I'll finally do some marketing in your local business. Listen, the Yellow Pages were around for 70 years. This is going to be around for a very, very, very long time. You got to get on board with this, and you got to do it now.
Well, and remember, the Yellow Pages were virtual.
Yeah. Oh my God. I haven't even been on that website in so long.
Sorry. I know, neither have I, but remember, they went virtual. I think they probably had the biggest chance of going virtual really early, but it was like PayPal. Like when I was working at one of the banks.
We were at my parents'.
Listen to this. This was pretty wild.
Well, it was. Yeah. My kids were like, "What is this book?" And I'm like, "Nobody uses it. Don't worry."
When I was working at one of the banks, and I remember the CEO of the bank came up and he was doing this big crazy presentation, and he goes, "Help me understand why Stripe and PayPal became the premium credit card processor when we've been at it longer than them." And I like my eyes up, and he's like, and he goes, "We missed the mark big time." He's like, and he said the same thing to Visa, MasterCard. Why wasn't Visa the first? Like, Visa should have been the PayPal, and should have been the Stripe. Like, they had the momentum, they had the cash, they had the capital, but they didn't move forward. So that's what I'm just trying to think. You got to be careful. Look, Blockbuster, you know, you got to think about these things,
I
right? Like,
remember I went in New York City. When I was a younger man, 15, 20 years ago, I went with who's my wife now, but was my girlfriend then, and we went to this symposium where the head of Sprint was speaking, and we all had our little Nokia flip phones, and he stood on that stage. I'll never forget it. He said, soon you'll be doing everything. And he took out his flip phone. You'll be doing everything on this phone. And we're like, and you could hear chuckles in the background, and nobody believed it. And then 2 years later, the iPhone came out. So you have to get
now
on
you
this
can't
back.
do anything with your phone.
Yeah. By the way, I almost punished one of my kids over the holidays. They were like, what do you want to do? I was like, I will take away your phone and give you a flip phone. That's how you torture a kid.
Now you're threatening him with like past technology. So with that being said, that's pretty funny. I think we should do that with all our kids. But that being said, so hopefully you found this a little bit informative. Again, local businesses, reach out. You get a audit from us. We can actually do all this. Rapidactivemarketing.com. There's a little guide there. You can just seek us out there. We do interviews all the time. We do little go down on 15-minute calls to see where you're at. More importantly, check out our YouTube channel. We got tons of stuff on this. ChatGTP, if you want to learn about the AI, a lot of stuff regarding high-level FG funnels and things that can help your businesses move forward.
Come on,
more importantly, it's a smorgasbord of everything to help you with your marketing. Just our goal is to get you guys online and just making sure you're taking advantage of everything out there. The last thing we want to see is our great local businesses close down, or the great businesses that are out there that offer a great product not being noticed. So that's it. So with that being said, thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you guys.